The day I saw my name missing from the will, I didn't scream. I didn't beg. Because deep down I already knew. I wasn't the favorite. I was just the fallback. Even after I paid off their entire $80,000 mortgage, quietly, without asking for anything in return. But the final insult? A text from Mom asking for more. That's when I decided, no more silence. I used to believe that loyalty would eventually be recognized, until the day I opened that thick envelope on my parents' dining table. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon in Boulder, Colorado. I had just dropped by their home like I did most weekends to help my mom, Lorraine, with her never-ending stack of paperwork. She wasn't exactly fluent in anything digital, so I usually handled her bills, sorted her statements, scanned documents. That brick house on Willow Lane, the one I secretly paid off over 3 years, piece by piece, without ever asking for anything in return, felt more like mine than theirs. "Can you look through these for me?" Mom said, handing over a messy bundle of folders before heading out back to water her succulents. I sat at the old wooden table sorting until I noticed it. A cream-colored envelope marked Estate Plan and Will. I hesitated, not because I wanted to pry, but because I always made sure things were in order. That's who I'd become, the one who held the family together. But when I flipped to the asset distribution page, my stomach turned to ice. Everything, the house, the SUV, the savings account, even Mom's diamond wedding ring, was left to my younger sister, Kayla. Me? Not a single mention, just one cold, generic line. "We love both our daughters." I stood up slowly, holding the will. Mom had just walked in. "Julie, did you find the—" She stopped. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. "Is this real?" She froze. Her eyes flicked to the paper. My voice came out low, sharp. "I paid off your $80,000 mortgage, quietly, without asking for a thing, and I'm not even in the will?" That was the moment everything broke, not with a bang, just with a signature. I placed the will back on the table, not gently, not angrily, just like someone returning a contract they never signed, a declaration of where I stood. "Thanks for showing me," I said, my voice like glass. "Now I know exactly where I rank in this family." No one said a word as I walked to the door. No one followed. No one called out. For the first time in years, I didn't feel hurt. Just empty. A hollow sort of silence that settled deep in my chest and refused to move. I didn't go back to that house after that day. Not once. 2 weeks passed. No texts, no calls, no apology. It was as if I had been erased the moment I stopped being useful. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. A message from my father, Charles. "Julie, this month's mortgage is due. Can you send the payment before Friday?" No mention of what they'd done, no check-in, no context. Just a demand, like I was still their quiet little ATM. I stared at the message, laughed under my breath, not with humor, just disbelief, and typed back, "I think Kayla can handle it. That house is hers now, right?" 10 minutes later, another buzz. "Julie, don't do this. We need to talk." "Mom." I didn't answer. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even disappointed. I was done. 3 days later, Kayla messaged me. "You're overreacting. They didn't mean it like that. You've always been the strong one. I'm just not like you." I typed each word like a scalpel. "Then prove you deserve what you've been handed. Start by paying the mortgage." Silence. Until Monday morning when a transfer request popped up from Mom. $2,900. No explanation, just a number. I hit decline. Mom called. I let it ring. Then a message. "Why did you decline?" I breathed in deeply and replied, "Because it's no longer my responsibility. Ask the heir." And for the first time in my adult life, I felt something close to peace. The silence felt like relief. A release from a burden I had carried for far too long. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't last. They'd come back the moment no one else could fix things, when the house creaked closer to foreclosure, when Kayla realized inheritance didn't come with financial literacy, when all their excuses ran dry. But I'd be ready, Not to save them, just to show them I wasn't the one who would keep sacrificing without even a thank you. The next message from Kayla came near midnight while I was curled up with a historical novel and a cup of chamomile tea. "You're blowing this way out of proportion." I didn't even need to open it to guess the tone. I kept scrolling. "Everyone's already stressed. Why are you choosing now to be dramatic? It's just a few payments. You've always done it." A dry laugh slipped from my lips. Just a few payments from someone who's never paid her own phone bill. I typed back, "I'm not being dramatic. I'm being clear, and you better get used to it." Seconds later, she replied, "You're seriously selfish. Don't be surprised if Mom and Dad don't forgive you." I set the phone down. For the first time in years, I felt no guilt. I wasn't trapped in the cycle of trying to be the good daughter. I had crossed the line from being used to finally standing up for myself. The next morning, I called the bank and removed my name from the joint mortgage account. I contacted every utility company I'd secretly handled and canceled all the auto payments tied to my card. I even deleted the bill reminders on my phone, like a quiet ceremony marking the end of my role in their household. That night, I cleaned my apartment, turned up my favorite playlist, and bought a slice of chocolate cake, one I'd always skipped because there were more important things. I started sleeping better. No payment alerts, no guilt, just space. I enrolled in an art class I'd dreamed of for years but kept putting off, because back then I wasn't allowed to want anything for myself. And just as my life started to breathe, the past came knocking again. Early Monday, Mom called. I ignored it. A message followed. "Julie, we need to talk. Your sister doesn't know how to pay the internet bill." 2 days later, "The landline's down. She can't log in. I don't know what to do." I opened the old notebook, the one where I had written every password, every billing cycle, every account number. Then I closed it. I wasn't their system admin anymore. I wasn't their financial safety net. And I wasn't going back. I closed the notebook and slid it back into the drawer. My hands lingered on the wood, like they were saying goodbye to something that had once defined me. I wasn't their assistant anymore. I wasn't their assistant anymore. Not the unpaid administrator holding their household together. Not the invisible backbone of a system that had erased me the moment I stopped being useful. 3 days later, a new email from Kayla lit up my screen. "Are you kidding me? The power's about to be shut off. You're really going to let that happen to our family?" Typed one sentence. "No. I'm letting everyone take responsibility for their own choices." Silence followed, and for once, it didn't rattle me. Until one morning, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. It was Mrs. Castillo, the neighbor who'd lived next door to my parents in Santa Rosa for over 20 years. "Your mom asked if I knew any realtors. I think they're struggling to keep up." I thanked her and hung up. I didn't feel smug. I didn't smile. I didn't even cry. I just stared out the kitchen window at the jacaranda trees blooming on my street. And for the first time in my adult life, I wasn't weighed down by guilt. That Monday, another unexpected call came, this time from Mr. Lawson, another neighbor. "Julie, is everything okay? Your mom thought it was Wednesday, but the bank just sent a foreclosure notice." It had only been 4 weeks since I pulled my support. 4 weeks for the house I held up, quietly, dollar by dollar, to begin crumbling. Mom tried calling. I didn't answer. A message followed. "Julie, please. It's serious. We really need you." I read it. Then I set the phone down. The satisfaction I once imagined wasn't there. No victory, no revenge, just a dull, tired ache. A kind of emptiness worn into my bones from years of cleaning up behind others. 2 days later, Kayla showed up at my door. No makeup, wrinkled hoodie, clutching a stack of documents like they might slip out of her hands. "I just need 5 minutes," she begged. "Just 5, Julie." I crossed my arms, blocking the entrance. "Here to ask for money?" "No," she stammered. I need help talking to the bank. I can't understand the terms. I'm overwhelmed." I tilted my head. "What about your inheritance?" I asked flatly. She looked down. "It's tied up in an investment account. There's a penalty if I withdraw." My eyebrow lifted. "Yet you signed for everything without question." They said it was all handled. Exactly, I said. You didn't think, like always. She went quiet, and I stepped out, not to console her, but to teach her what no one else had. I stepped out and gently pulled the door closed behind me. This is the lesson you need to learn, I said through the crack. Everyone stumbles, but no one grows if someone's always there to catch them. You're really going to let them lose the house? Kayla's voice cracked. I'm not letting anything happen. They made their choice. Now they live with it. I turned away, leaving her in the hallway of my Oakland apartment building, clutching her folder full of financial messes. 3 days later, I ran into someone familiar at a local photography mixer. Ben Marlowe, an old college acquaintance who'd become a real estate agent. I was about to tell him about my recent exhibit when he paused. Is your folks' house on Maplewood Drive? I nodded cautiously. Yeah, someone from our team flagged it. Looks like they're scrambling to sell. Lots of deferred maintenance. High foreclosure risk. You okay? I gave a tired smile. I'm fine. They're not. That night, I opened my inbox and found an email from a nonprofit I once interned with, Civic Shelter, helping seniors navigate housing debt. They were recruiting mentors. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't want to help my parents. I didn't want to rescue Kayla. But if I could help someone else avoid what I'd gone through, maybe that meant something. I signed up. That Saturday, I'd just wrapped up a workshop and pulled into my parking lot, tea and quiet on my mind, when I saw it. The silver Honda Odyssey I once co-signed for, parked crooked near the curb. I froze. 4 years ago, I saved that car when Dad missed payments, transferred the title to him as a final olive branch. And now, here it was, sitting outside my building like a ghost I didn't summon. I got out slowly. My parents stood near the entrance. Kayla trailed behind them, clutching her bag like it held all their regrets. I said nothing, just crossed my arms and waited. My mom, Nora, spoke first. Julie, we're sorry, but things are getting out of hand. The bank's coming next week. I gave away my youth, I said, my voice low but sharp. And in return, I got written out, like I never existed. My mother's eyes welled with tears. We didn't think it would come to this. Can't you help? Just a few months until things settle down. I shook my head. The wind carried away years of unspoken guilt from my chest. I'm not saying no because I can't help, I said. I'm saying no because if I do, you'll all believe nothing has to change. Kayla finally whispered. I didn't realize it would get so complicated. I thought. It just needed time. I looked at her, the sister who always assumed someone else would clean up the mess. I didn't walk away fast, I replied. I warned, I waited, I hoped, and all of you ignored it. There was a long silence. Then my mom whispered, So, this is really the end? I looked at her, the same woman I once brought medication to, cooked for, drove to late-night ER visits. And I finally understood the line between being family by blood and being treated like one. I didn't end this, I said softly. You did, the moment you decided who deserved to be named and who didn't. No one spoke. I stepped onto the porch, pulled out my keys, and unlocked the door. Before going inside, I turned back one last time. I hope you figure things out, I said, but I'm not your lifeline anymore. I looked at Kayla. If you really want to grow up, this is your chance. I've stepped off the merry-go-round. Now it's your turn. Then I walked in and closed the door. There were no tears, no shaking hands, just a quiet kind of peace. But it didn't last long. A week later, Olivia, a coworker at the Arts Center, messaged me. Julie, are you on Facebook? You need to check your mom's posts. She's saying some unbelievable stuff. My dad posted, Julie used to be the daughter who loved her family, but when we needed her the most, she walked away without a word. The house is on the verge of foreclosure, and she acts like it doesn't matter. Then came Kayla's post, biting and smug. Some people only know how to act kind when they're above you. But when family asks for help, they go quiet. Guess that's the new definition of strength. I gripped my phone tightly. I wasn't angry, not shocked, just exhausted. When guilt didn't work, they turned to public shame. But they forgot something. I wasn't silent anymore. That night, I opened my old Facebook account. No colors, no emojis, no drama. Just this. My family is posting a one-sided story. So here's the truth. I attached a photo of the will, Kayla named sole heir, then snapshots of the mortgage payments, utility bills, insurance documents, all under my name. And finally, a screenshot of the last text Mom sent asking for $2,900. I ended it with one line. My silence wasn't consent. I was just waiting for the right moment to speak. Within 10 minutes, the first comment appeared. "Julie, you seriously paid for all this? I'm in shock." An old classmate added, "You've always been the most selfless person. Don't let them rewrite the story." It went viral. Not because it was scandalous, but because it was real. 2 days later, Carol deleted her posts. Tom deactivated his account. Kayla changed her profile picture to a black and white flower, her signature drama move when things spiral. I didn't respond, didn't post again, just sat in my apartment, rain tapping against the window, and for the first time felt justice settle beside me. I didn't need apologies. I didn't want them to grovel. I just needed them to stop. And they finally did. Every Monday morning now starts with something new. At 7:30 sharp, I walk into a modest studio in downtown Boulder, Colorado, not to pay someone else's bills, but to teach high schoolers the basics of photography. Watching their eyes light up as they held a camera for the first time made me realize how different the world can look depending on the lens you choose. In the evenings, I enrolled in a part-time video editing course, a dream I'd shelved for years. Before, I never had the time or space to be selfish. Now, for the first time in my life, no one expected anything from me. And that felt like freedom. I baked on weekends, took long walks without rushing back to put out someone else's fire, posted photos online without worrying someone would call me self-centered. I met new friends who knew nothing about my history as the fixer of the family, and because of that, I finally just got to be Julie. Meanwhile, across town, the house on Larch Street began appearing on real estate sites. Marcus, an old classmate who now works in real estate, texted me one evening, "Hey, is that your parents' house listed for $390,000? No offers. Looks like it needs major work." I wasn't surprised. No one to fix the wiring, replace the heater, or deal with the leaking roof anymore. No more me. A few days later, I got a quick call from Mrs. Florence, our old neighbor. She mentioned casually, "Oh, I've seen Kayla doing grocery runs for your folks lately. Looks like she moved back in. Poor girl looks overwhelmed." I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel anything. I just took a sip of my still warm coffee. Maybe what Kayla needed most was a taste of the responsibility she used to toss aside. My savings were finally growing. I booked a trip to Vermont for fall foliage photography. Bought the semi-pro camera I used to call a luxury. And for once, I was taking care of myself, the way I had once taken care of an entire household. And I wasn't done yet. I wasn't the rescuer anymore. When the real estate app notified me that the house on Willow Creek Drive had dropped another $30,000, I tapped hide notification, closed my phone, and exhaled. It wasn't a sigh of sadness, more like weightlessness, like something had finally slipped off my back. I didn't belong to that place anymore. On a late December afternoon, I took my new camera for a walk around Edgewater Park. The golden light of dusk cut through the bare sycamores, casting long shadows across the water. I lifted my lens and captured a frame. A little boy dashing across a wooden path, his mother laughing behind him. And just like that, something clicked. Not in the camera, but inside me. Some things aren't meant to be held onto, especially if they were never really yours. For years, I believed blood was unbreakable. But now I know. What makes a family isn't DNA. It's mutual respect, gratitude, and care that goes both ways. I gave everything I had in hopes of being acknowledged. Instead, I became the invisible name left off the will, the dramatic one for finally drawing a line. I never returned to that house, not once. One day, I received a letter. The handwriting on the blue envelope was unmistakable, my mother's. She wrote about sleepless nights, about Dad getting weaker, about not knowing how to fix things, At the end, she scribbled, "If you're willing, I'm still here." I didn't rip it. I didn't respond. I placed it quietly in the drawer beneath my desk, next to old contact sheets, undeveloped roles, and unfinished ideas that might one day make sense. I didn't hate them. I just couldn't keep offering my whole self to people who only noticed me when they needed saving. Instead, I kept teaching, creating, and photographing. At a cozy exhibit inside a bookstore cafe, someone looked at one of my images and said, "Your pictures feel like they speak for people who never got to speak." And I knew they were right. I've learned to let people carry the consequences of their own choices, and most importantly, I've learned not to look back. My parents? They're still my family, on paper, in memory, but they're no longer at the center of every decision I make. Will there be a reunion one day? Or will silence remain? I don't know. And it doesn't matter anymore, because I've come to understand something. Family isn't just the people who share your last name. It's the people who value your presence, who don't treat your love like a job description, who see you, truly see you, and choose you back. And if no one like that exists in your life, you still have you, and that can be enough. My story isn't a tragedy. It's an awakening. I once believed that love and sacrifice would eventually be recognized, that if I just gave enough, tried enough, worked enough, I'd earn my place. But the truth? No one, not even family, deserves the right to exploit your kindness. Now, I live with peace, not because they changed, but because I finally did. I set boundaries. I walked away. I chose myself, without guilt, without apology. I used to imagine it sometimes. Just once, my mom looking me in the eye and saying, "Julie, you were never invisible. You held us together when we didn't even realize we were falling apart." But that moment never came, so I gave it to myself. And I hope my story reaches anyone out there still waiting for someone to say, "Thank you," or finally show up for them. Maybe this is your permission. You don't have to wait. Do you think Nora made the right choice? Was she too harsh, or was this the only way to truly protect herself? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to follow the channel for more real stories like this one.